Some of you may already know this, but I'm a huge PlayStation gamer. I've been into this ecosystem ever since the PS3 came out, and since then I've had every console that Sony released. And now I've started collecting all the older consoles as well, and I'm working on creating a complete collection. I'm actually working on a video about every portable Sony console which I've managed to get into my collection, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss that one out. So what about Xbox? Well, before PlayStation, I was more into PC gaming, so it wasn't really a time when I was into Xbox gaming. And when I finally decided to switch to a console, it was up to the exclusives for me and also what console did my friends use. So PlayStation it was. Now I did play my share of games on Xbox before, but this was on friends' consoles. I never really had my own Xbox console. And if you have been following my channel, you probably know that the first Xbox that I got into my collection was a 360, which I got for $18 at the flea market, and later on an original Xbox for $25. But now I have finally bought the latest generation there is from Microsoft, the Xbox Series S. I know, the top of the line is the Series X, but I'm not planning on replacing my PS5, so it's more of an addition to my gaming experience. And the Series S seems the perfect answer. It's small, cheap, I can simply put Game Pass on it and don't care about any additional purchases. If there is a new game I want to play and it's on both consoles, then 100% I'll be picking it up on my PS5. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, let's talk about a lifetime PlayStation gamer's impression about the Xbox. Even if I did play quite a bit on friends' consoles, I never really cared about understanding the UI, the functionalities, the ups and downs of this console. So this is actually very new to me, so I'll be learning down the road. And a lot of footage from this video is actually right after the unboxing, so if it seems like I'm struggling, it's because I actually am. So first things first, the console itself. I can't believe how tiny this is. I've seen videos about it but never expected it to be so small. It's just a tad bigger than my Nintendo Switch. This is actually perfect as I don't have too much space left under my TV. And I actually had to take away my Nintendo Switch from its place for this, but that's okay, I rarely play my Switch dock to be honest. In the process of creating this setup, I was quickly reminded that the controller needs AA batteries. I still find that funny, but at least it lasts a lot longer than the DualSense controller from the PS5. Opening up the Xbox, I am quickly reminded that I need to create an account. But this being made by Microsoft, I was easily able to use one of my existing ones. And apparently I actually used this one in the past for PC gaming, so account secured. But then we had the first problem. I was quickly reminded that Xbox is not officially out in Romania. It may not be a big issue to get this started, but this is a big problem for purchasing games, and I'm expecting Game Pass to be even harder to get. I'll keep this short, but I did struggle for a while to make this working. There are now different countries and multiple credit cards. I did manage to set this up using United Kingdom as my country. I went with Game Pass Ultimate for £10.99, which includes both Xbox and PC. Currently my only gaming PC is my Steam Deck, but Game Pass still isn't working on it, but I did pre-order the ROG Ally and I'm planning on using the Game Pass on it as well. And we are finally done with the initial configuration. Time to get into some gaming. Well, I'm not off to a good start personally. My first impression about the UI is not the best. My thoughts about the PS5 UI is that it's decent. It's clean and you can find things around it fairly quickly. It's not much, but it gets the job done. But for Xbox's UI, one word to describe it, it's cramped. It tries to get too much information in one place. Things shift around way too much. There's a category for everything, but whenever you want to get somewhere, then you'll have problems finding it. I struggle a lot of times to check all the Game Pass games that are currently available. I know this may cause some of you a bit of anger, but you probably got used to this UI and finding everything easily. You got familiar with it, it's your playground. But as an outsider, as a first impression, trust me, things are not easy to follow. I even asked one of my gamer friends to come over and try this out, and even though I didn't mention anything, he immediately had comments about it. At some point we were trying to find something for 5 minutes. By then we even forgot what we were looking for. But enough about the UI. I'm sure in time I will get used to it, and after more than a month of using it, it has become easier, but I'm still not there yet. Then we have the games. As I said before, I have a PlayStation specifically for the exclusives. I love almost all of the Sony exclusives like Uncharted, God of War, Spider-Man, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us and so many others. On Xbox there are exclusive as well, but there are two important things over here. First one is that all of these games you can play on a PC as well. I don't have a gaming PC anymore, so that doesn't apply to me, but there are quite a few that I can play on my Steam Deck, and I have been playing quite a bit of Halo on it. The second aspect is that for me personally, not too many of the exclusives are that important to me. I do enjoy them, don't get me wrong, but never that much to actually buy an Xbox just for this. But now that I got them, I had a few that I really wanted to play. And the first one had to be Forza Horizon 5. I've been waiting on trying this game out for a while, and being included with Game Pass made me install it right away. This is considered by most one of the best looking car racing games out there, and I see it now, I have to agree. And this works so well on this tiny device. So far, I'm really impressed. Then there was a game that I have been wanting to play since it was launched a few months ago. I wanted to buy it on Steam Deck, but being included with Game Pass, I had to wait a bit. And I'm talking about Hi-Fi Rush. This game took everyone by surprise when it was announced and released right away, and it's so much fun to play. I haven't played a rhythm game in a while, and this one has done it right. I like the art style, the mechanics, the gameplay, and so far even the story. If you haven't played this game yet, I really recommend you trying it out. And now for the more challenging aspect. I wanted to play this game for so long. I never even tried it before, but I always wanted to. I even wanted to buy it on Steam, but watching others gameplay about it, I knew it was the good idea. I'm talking about Flight Simulator. This is such a chill game to play. You can do this casually or even go pro with it if you want to. For now, I'm just enjoying flying around places that I've visited in the past. And I'm telling you, this is quite relaxing to do when you don't feel like playing a hard game. Unfortunately, these games already pretty much filled in my Series S SSD of 500GB, so going all digital is starting to show. So I really need to be careful with what I installed on it. And also the download speeds are not the best, and I do have a fast internet connection. I really need to plan better my game management. While having these few games installed, I did have to use one of the best functionalities out there on the console, and that is Quick Resume. Damn, this feature is great to have. I remember seeing this being announced a few years ago, and I was jealous as a PlayStation user. Having the ability to go back and forth to different games is such a game changer. You don't have to close a game every time you want to play a different one. So if after a few races in Forza 5 I want to chill with a quick fly around New York, I simply switch between the two games and that is it. It's a game changer. One of the best functionalities out there, and the best part, even if you shut down your console, the game is still waiting for you to jump right back into it. Sony, you need to take notes. Now to talk about the controller. Ever since the PS3 era, the debate between friends has been about which controller is better, and at the time most of us were pretty sure that the Xbox One was superior because of the ergonomics. And I was one of them. Then the DualShock 4 controller came with the PS4 and things started to even a bit. While most were still saying that the Xbox One is better, to this day I have friends who consider the DualShock 4 to be the best out there. Microsoft kept the same shape of the controller even with the Xbox One. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Well, they did the same with the Series X and S. I get it, the shape is good, the joystick placement is better for most gamers, but 3 generations in a row with basically the same controller is not a good idea for me. Sony has learned from its mistakes. They took the old controller and made it even better, generation by generation. And with the DualSense 5, I think they nailed it. First of all, the shape is almost perfect for me. It has to be the most ergonomic controller that I ever used. And then the functionalities. The adaptive triggers are a game changer, and the haptic feedback is amazing as well. But taking all that, I do think the Sony controller is better from all points of view, even the materials. The Xbox One feels so much cheaper in the hand. The plastic feels worse even compared with older generations. And I'm not even talking about batteries, as this is more of a personal preference, so this may be considered better for some. So getting all of this out there, what do I actually think as a whole about the Xbox Series S? Well, for me personally, Xbox will not replace my PlayStation console anytime soon. It just is the better experience for me. Games, friends, library, these are all important factors. But I do think this console is the one to get for a lot of people. Heck, I even recommend this to several friends already, and they're all enjoying it. Being a casual gamer, wanting to have access to a big library, this has to be the go-to console. You're not paying much at all, it is small, and Game Pass has more games than you need. But even for a PlayStation user like me, if you know you have games that you'll enjoy and most of all you have time to play all these games, then it does make sense to own both consoles. And I can't recommend the Series X in this scenario. As I said, in my case this is basically an add-on to my current setup, and I'll continue to play AAA titles on the PS5. The great things about gaming in 2023 is that we have so many options to play games, and the Steam Deck opened a whole new world, so just pick whatever works best for you. Enjoy gaming, as there is a device to play on and a different type of game for everyone. Thank you for watching my impressions about the Xbox Series S. I'm truly happy to finally have one in my collection, and don't forget that soon enough I'll get my hands on the ROG Ally as well. We'll have so many videos about it, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, this is the Tech Unravel, and I will catch you in the next video.